Welcome back to Ultra Prime Selections. Over the past 48 hours, our team has been tirelessly gathering information about a mysterious new virus emerging from China. This alarming development is sending shockwaves around the globe. Hospitals are overwhelmed, cases are surging, and the virus may already be mutating. Could this be the start of another pandemic? Is it a natural outbreak or something far more calculated? And most importantly, what does it mean for you and your loved ones? In this episode, we'll uncover the details, explore the potential for global spread, and ask the questions no one else is daring to. Could this be a Plandemic 2.0, a bioengineered weapon, or part of a larger, more sinister agenda? Let's dive into the details. Is this the next global crisis? The world holds its breath, caught between hope and fear. One thing is certain: the world is watching, waiting, and bracing for impact. The whispers began in China, a land of ancient wisdom and burgeoning modernity. From bustling cities to remote villages, a new illness began to spread, its tendrils reaching into homes and hospitals alike. At first it was just a murmur, a ripple of concern among healthcare workers. Then, the whispers grew louder, evolving into a chorus of alarm as cases surged and hospitals overflowed. HMPV, the human metapneumovirus, was no stranger to the medical community. Discovered in 2001, this respiratory virus was known to cause mild, cold-like symptoms, particularly in young children. But something was different this time. The virus seemed to be spreading faster, hitting harder, and affecting a wider range of age groups. Reports from the front lines painted a grim picture. HMPV, the human metapneumovirus. A name ripped from the headlines, whispered in hushed tones, now seared into the global consciousness. It sounds like something out of a science fiction thriller, a microscopic terror unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. But HMPV is no figment of imagination, it is a chilling reality, a virus lurking unseen, a silent predator stalking its prey. Invisible to the naked eye, HMPV belongs to the family of paramyxoviruses, a group known for their respiratory mischief. Like a thief in the night, it slips into the body, invading the delicate tissues of the respiratory tract. HMPV is not a new enemy. It was first identified in 2001, lurking undetected for decades, mistaken for other respiratory viruses. Since then, it has become a familiar foe, circulating globally, causing seasonal outbreaks, particularly during the winter and spring months. For most healthy individuals, an encounter with HMPV is an unwelcome but generally manageable experience. The virus typically announces its presence with a barrage of flu-like symptoms: fever, cough, runny nose, sore throat, the usual suspects of the common cold. In most cases, the body's immune system rallies to the fight, mounting a defense, eventually clearing the virus. However, beneath this veneer of familiarity lurks a darker truth.
Shush!
Vulnerable. The young, the old, the fragile. Infants and young children, their immune systems still under construction, are particularly susceptible to the ravages of HMPV. Their tiny airways, already narrower than those of adults, become inflamed, constricted, making breathing a laborious struggle. Wheezing, coughing, and rapid breathing become the soundtrack of their distress. The virus, opportunistic and relentless, can exploit this vulnerability, paving the way for more serious complications. The elderly, their immune systems weakened by age and underlying health conditions, are also at increased risk from HMPV. China's struggle, a harbinger of things to come. The situation unfolding in China is a stark reminder of HMPV's potential for devastation. Hospitals, once beacons of healing, are now overwhelmed, their corridors echoing with the cries of the sick and the worried whispers of overworked medical staff. Children's wards, usually filled with the sounds of play and laughter, are now somber spaces, where beds overflow with young patients struggling to breathe. The virus does not discriminate, striking down the young, the old, the healthy, and the frail. The reports coming out of China are deeply concerning, a stark warning to the rest of the world. The world watches and waits, holding its breath, wondering, could this be a sign of things to come? The mutation threat, a virus in flux. Within the heart of this microscopic enemy lies a chilling truth: viruses evolve. They are not static entities frozen in time, but rather shapeshifters, constantly adapting, changing, seeking new ways to survive and thrive. This capacity for mutation, for transformation, is what makes viruses so dangerous, so difficult to predict and control. Each new infection, each encounter with a host's immune system, becomes an opportunity for the virus to experiment, to tweak its genetic code. Most of these mutations are inconsequential evolutionary dead ends, but some, through a cruel twist of genetic fate, can bestow upon the virus enhanced abilities. The possibility of a mutated HMPV armed with these enhanced abilities is a chilling prospect. Ghosts of pandemics past, the shadow of COVID-19. The world bears the scars of recent battles fought against viral foes. The COVID-19 pandemic, a global trauma etched into the collective memory, serves as a stark reminder of the devastating power of viruses, particularly those armed with the ability to mutate rapidly. The emergence of variants like Delta and Omicron, each more transmissible than its predecessor, showcased the virus's chilling ability to adapt. The lessons learned from COVID-19 are etched in the minds of scientists and public health officials. Now, as the world grapples with the emergence of HMPV, the specter of COVID-19 looms large, a cautionary tale whispered in the corridors of research labs and government agencies. The unknowable enemy, decoding the mutations. In the face of this invisible enemy, knowledge is our greatest weapon. Scientists around the world are engaged in a relentless pursuit, working tirelessly to understand the intricacies of HMPV, to decipher its genetic code, and to track its mutations with unwavering vigilance. Laboratories have transformed into battlegrounds where researchers, clad in protective gear, wage war against the virus on a microscopic scale. Genetic sequencing, a powerful tool in the fight against infectious diseases, has become the linchpin of this effort. It is a race against time, a battle fought on a microscopic battlefield, where the stakes are nothing less than the health and well-being of the global population. A global game of chance, predicting the path of mutation. Predicting the path of viral mutation is a game of chance, a gamble against an unpredictable adversary. Viruses, like rogue actors on the world stage, often defy expectations, their actions driven by a complex interplay of factors that scientists are only beginning to comprehend. The rate of mutation, the types of mutations that arise, and the impact of these mutations on the virus's behavior are all influenced by a confluence of factors. Understanding these factors, and their intricate relationship to viral evolution, is crucial for predicting the trajectory of an outbreak and for developing effective interventions. The world watches, waits, and hopes for the best, while bracing for the possibility that the virus might outmaneuver our best defenses once again. The global highway, mapping the virus's spread. In our interconnected world, borders are porous, easily traversed by the invisible tendrils of a virus. The ease of global travel, once a symbol of progress and interconnectedness, has become a double-edged sword, providing a network of pathways for pathogens to journey across continents with alarming speed. Air travel, in particular, has transformed the landscape of disease transmission. A virus can now hitch a ride on a jet stream, traversing vast distances in a matter of hours, carried within the bodies of unsuspecting travelers. What was once a local outbreak can quickly escalate into an international crisis. This interconnectedness, while offering numerous benefits, has also made us more vulnerable to the threat of pandemics. Silent spread, the threat of asymptomatic transmission. Adding to the complexity of this viral chess match is the insidious nature of asymptomatic transmission. HMPV, like many respiratory viruses, can spread silently, lurking within the bodies of individuals who exhibit no outward signs of illness. These silent carriers, unaware of the danger they harbor, become unwitting agents of transmission, spreading the virus through their everyday interactions with others. A cough, a sneeze, a handshake, a shared meal, seemingly innocuous acts of daily life, can become vectors for viral spread. This silent spread, invisible and insidious, makes containment efforts exceedingly difficult. In the fight against an invisible enemy, vigilance is our greatest ally. Borders under siege, the futility of containment. The world watched as nations attempted to erect barriers against the invisible enemy, sealing borders, imposing travel bans, and implementing strict quarantine measures. These measures, born of necessity and fueled by a desperate hope of containing the outbreak, often proved futile. The virus, a master of adaptation, exploited every crack in our defenses, slipping through porous borders. The interconnectedness of the modern world, once a source of pride, became a liability, rendering traditional methods of containment largely ineffective. The economic and social costs of these measures were substantial, disrupting global trade, separating families and fueling anxiety and uncertainty. The lesson learned from this global struggle is that in an interconnected world, containment is a fleeting illusion. From local outbreaks to global pandemic, tracing the path of a virus. The journey from a local outbreak to a global pandemic is a perilous one, marked by a series of critical junctures where the fate of the virus and indeed the world hangs in the balance. Understanding these stages and the factors that influence the virus's trajectory is crucial for mounting an effective response. The initial outbreak, often confined to a specific geographical region, represents a critical window of opportunity for containment. Rapid identification of the virus, aggressive contact tracing, and isolation of infected individuals can potentially extinguish the outbreak before it gains a foothold. However, if the virus evades these early containment efforts, it can quickly spread beyond the initial epicenter, carried by travelers along international air routes, establishing new clusters of infection in distant lands. Each new outbreak becomes a potential seed for further spread, creating a ripple effect that can quickly escalate into a global wave of infections. The transition from a series of localized outbreaks to a full-blown pandemic is often a tipping point, marked by sustained community transmission in multiple countries and continents. At this stage, the focus shifts from containment to mitigation, as the world grapples with the reality of a virus that has firmly established itself on the global stage. Whispers in the shadows, conspiracy theories and the search for meaning. In the chaos of a viral outbreak, conspiracy theories flourish, offering seductive narratives of hidden agendas. The human mind seeks patterns, explanations to make sense of chaos. Conspiracy theories offer simplistic answers, fueling distrust and division. They thrive in the echo chambers of social media, blurring fact and fiction. The virus becomes a pawn in a larger game of control. Critical thinking is essential to navigate this landscape. Fostering a culture of skepticism and evidence examination is key. The bioweapon hypothesis, a calculated attack or a fear-driven fantasy. The bioweapon hypothesis, a perennial specter haunting the fringes of pandemic discourse, rears its head once again, fueled by fear, suspicion, and the inherent human tendency to seek agency in the face of seemingly random events. The idea that a virus, meticulously engineered in a clandestine laboratory, could be unleashed upon an unsuspecting world is a chilling thought, tapping into primal fears of unseen enemies and invisible threats. The bioweapon narrative often hinges on circumstantial evidence, weaving together disparate threads of information, the virus's origin, its genetic makeup, the timing of the outbreak, into a tapestry of suspicion. Coincidences are reinterpreted as evidence of malicious intent, and any gaps in scientific understanding are exploited, filled with conjecture and speculation. While the possibility of a bioweapon attack, however remote, cannot be entirely dismissed, it is crucial to approach such claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. Extraordinary claims, as the adage goes, require extraordinary evidence. The burden of proof lies with those making the claim, and any evidence presented must be rigorously scrutinized, subjected to the same standards of scientific scrutiny as any other hypothesis. The bioweapon hypothesis, while tempting in its simplicity, often serves as a distraction, diverting attention and resources away from more pressing issues. The need for robust public health infrastructure, international cooperation, and a coordinated global response. The focus should remain on addressing the very real threat posed by the virus itself, regardless of its origins, rather than getting mired in the quicksand of speculation and conjecture. Cui bono? Unmasking the potential beneficiaries of a pandemic. In the shadowy realm of geopolitics where power dynamics shift like tectonic plates, the question of cui bono, who benefits, takes on a particular significance. Pandemics, with their ability to disrupt global systems, reshape economic landscapes, and sow chaos and instability, create fertile ground for opportunistic actors to exploit the crisis to their advantage. Governments, facing internal pressures and external threats, might be tempted to utilize the pandemic as a pretext for consolidating power, expanding surveillance measures, and suppressing dissent. Economic actors, sensing an opportunity amidst the chaos, might engage in predatory practices, exploiting vulnerabilities to amass wealth and consolidate market share. The fog of a pandemic, with its heightened anxieties and information overload, provides cover for those seeking to exploit the crisis for personal gain. Actions taken under the guise of public health and safety might mask ulterior motives, as the line between legitimate responses to a public health emergency and opportunistic power grabs becomes increasingly blurred. Unmasking the potential beneficiaries of a pandemic requires a discerning eye, a willingness to follow the money, and a healthy skepticism towards official narratives. The pandemic, while undoubtedly a tragedy, also serves as a stark reminder that power, whether political or economic, often seeks to capitalize on moments of crisis, exploiting vulnerabilities to advance its own agenda. The fog of information warfare, discerning truth from deception. In the digital age, information has become a weapon, wielded with precision to shape narratives, manipulate public opinion, and sow discord. The fog of a pandemic, with its heightened anxieties and thirst for answers, creates a fertile ground for the spread of misinformation as truth becomes a casualty in the battle for hearts and minds. State actors, seeking to advance their geopolitical agendas, might engage in disinformation campaigns, spreading propaganda and falsehoods to undermine rivals and sow discord among adversaries. Opportunistic individuals driven by profit or notoriety might exploit the crisis to peddle fake cures, spread conspiracy theories, and profit from the fear and uncertainty that permeates a pandemic. The sheer volume of information, the speed at which it travels, and the anonymity afforded by the online world make it increasingly difficult to separate fact from fiction. The lines between credible sources and purveyors of misinformation blur, as social media algorithms designed to maximize engagement often prioritize sensationalized content over verified information. Navigating this treacherous landscape requires a discerning eye, a critical mind, and a healthy dose of skepticism. Media literacy, the ability to evaluate information objectively, to identify bias, and to verify sources, becomes an essential skill for separating truth from deception. In the fog of information warfare, the most potent weapon is an informed and discerning public, capable of recognizing and rejecting misinformation in all its forms. The specter of lockdowns returns, a haunting reminder of the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. Memories of empty streets, shuttered businesses, and eerie silence resurface. As cases climb, hospitals overflow, and familiar restrictions loom. Governments face tough choices balancing public health and economic stability. The world braces for a return to life in the shadows. The social unraveling, fractured trust, and the erosion of cohesion. Beyond the immediate health crisis, the specter of lockdowns carries with it a more insidious threat: the unraveling of the social fabric, the erosion of trust in institutions, and the deepening of societal divisions. The pandemic, with its disruptions and uncertainties, has exposed fault lines in societies worldwide, exacerbating existing inequalities and fueling social unrest. Lockdowns, while perhaps necessary from a public health perspective, can exacerbate these tensions, pitting individual liberties against the collective good, fueling resentment towards those perceived as benefiting from or exploiting the crisis. The social contract, the unspoken agreement between citizens and their government, becomes strained as trust in authority erodes and compliance with mandates wanes. The pandemic has also exposed the limitations of traditional media, as the spread of misinformation and disinformation online further polarizes public opinion and undermines trust in expert advice. Social media, once hailed as a tool for connecting people and fostering dialogue, has become a breeding ground for conspiracy theories, echo chambers, and the amplification of fringe views. As the social fabric frays, the sense of shared purpose and collective responsibility that is essential for navigating a crisis begins to unravel. The pandemic, with its lockdowns and restrictions, becomes a crucible in which the bonds of community are tested and the resilience of social institutions is put to the ultimate test. A world divided, compliance, resistance, and the seeds of discontent. Faced with the prospect of renewed lockdowns, a world already grappling with the psychological and economic scars of the COVID-19 pandemic finds itself at a crossroads. The collective trauma of past lockdowns, the isolation, the uncertainty, the economic hardship lingers, shaping perceptions and fueling resistance to measures that were once widely accepted as necessary evils. Compliance with lockdown measures, once a given, is no longer guaranteed. A segment of the population, weary of restrictions, skeptical of official narratives, or simply unwilling to bear the personal cost of collective action, may choose to resist, their defiance fueled by a potent cocktail of fear, misinformation, and distrust. This growing resistance manifests in various forms, from peaceful protests and civil disobedience to the spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories online. The anti-lockdown movement, once a fringe element, gains traction, drawing support from those who see government overreach in public health measures, their fears amplified by the echo chambers of social media. The world watches as societies grapple with this emerging challenge: how to balance individual liberties with the collective good, how to maintain public trust in the face of uncertainty and fear, and how to bridge the divides that threaten to tear communities apart. The seeds of discontent, sown in the fertile ground of a pandemic, threaten to blossom into open conflict, a stark reminder that the true cost of a virus extends far beyond the realm of public health. Echoes in the silence. A time for reflection. As the world watches and waits, a profound silence descends. It is a silence heavy with anticipation and uncertainty. In this silence, we reflect on our fragility and interconnectedness. Past pandemics remind us of the consequences of complacency. The silence is a call to action for a resilient future. The unending battle, preparing for a future of uncertainty. The emergence of HMPV, regardless of its ultimate trajectory, serves as a stark reminder that the battle against infectious diseases is never truly won. Viruses, those masters of adaptation, will continue to emerge, to evolve, and to test our defenses, demanding constant vigilance, innovation, and a willingness to adapt to ever-changing threats. The lessons learned from past pandemics, the importance of robust public health infrastructure, international cooperation, and clear, evidence-based communication must be heeded, not just in times of crisis, but as guiding principles for a future where the threat of infectious diseases looms large. Investing in scientific research, strengthening healthcare systems, and promoting global health equity are not just acts of altruism, but acts of self-preservation. A world where diseases can spread unchecked is a world where no one is truly safe. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the battle against infectious diseases is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires sustained effort, unwavering commitment, and a willingness to confront new challenges with courage, innovation, and a deep sense of shared responsibility for the well-being of humanity. The human spirit endures, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. Amidst the fear, the uncertainty, and the very real threat posed by this emerging virus, a glimmer of hope endures. It is the enduring strength of the human spirit, the unwavering capacity for resilience, compassion, and innovation that has seen humanity through countless crises throughout history. In the face of adversity, we have witnessed extraordinary acts of courage, selflessness, and ingenuity. Healthcare workers risking their own well-being to care for the sick. Scientists working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the virus and develop life-saving treatments. Ordinary individuals reaching out to support their neighbors, their communities, and their world. These acts of humanity, often small and unseen, are a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, a beacon of hope in the face of darkness. They remind us that even in the most challenging of times, the human capacity for compassion, for resilience, and for collective action can overcome even the most daunting of obstacles. The path ahead may be uncertain, the challenge is formidable, but as long as the human spirit endures, so too does hope. In the face of this emerging threat, let us draw strength from the resilience of those who have come before us. Let us find hope in the acts of kindness that surround us, and let us face the future with courage, compassion, and an unwavering belief in our collective ability to overcome adversity.